Today's art is about VHS package decoration. First one, it is CNN Millennium, 1,000 years of history in 10 fascinating hours of programming. Top, bottom, left, back, up, down, right, and here is the major fascinating part of the decoration. You see, it basically very attractively divided 1,000 years into 10 parts. Volume 1, the 11th century. Century of the sword. 12th century is century of the axe. 13th century is century of the stirrup. 14th century is century of the scythe. 15th century is century of the sail. 16th century is the century of the compass. 17th century is the century of the telescope. 18th century is the century of the furnace. 19th century is the century of the machine. 20th century is the century of the globe. I got it on a library sale. They retired this thing and I got it for a few dollars. And here is another one, to do memoir. 3 cassette. This side memoir. This side Pierre Elliott to do memoir. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. With a flower. And I learned a lot from this 3 VHS. Trudeau is really somebody. Make me think about Chairman Mao. Basically, they're very destined. They're so true to themselves. Just almost never get distracted. Except once. That's how he got married and how he got divorced. He got married very late, and basically after he's interviewed by a feminist journalist, and after that they dated a few times and he married her, and she played an important role on his second success of election, second one. And after that things go sour, and maybe around the third election they divorced. So he married a few short years, and interesting enough, in his second election, his wife sing high praise of him, say he's very loving. But then after a few years they divorced, and the reason Trudeau gave it in this show said, at first your authority in your family, your authority is your parents, and then finally authority is gone, and then you got married, and suddenly the authority is there again. So that's why he divorced, and he raised his 3 kids by himself. And interesting enough, the first one, Justin Trudeau, is conceived in Cuba. When they just married, they spent 1 month, spent a honeymoon in Cuba while they befriended with Castillo, the communist leader. Right now, many people doubt Justin Trudeau actually is not Pierre Trudeau's son, it's Castillo's son, because they look so similar. But who knows, because Pierre Trudeau has half French, half British. So that looking might come from that French half. And also Trudeau really deserves this flower, because Trudeau prevented Quebec and Canada prevented Canada and Quebec from going to too extreme. Without Trudeau, Quebec might just went to one extreme and then fall back to another extreme, and then those francophones will become miserable. And Trudeau basically put that bilingual into constitution, basically avoid that too extreme, and maintained stability of both Quebec and Canada, and also provide livelihood to many Quebecois, just because of the language part. You see, everything has to be bilingual. So many people learning French, so many people teaching French. That's why he really provided lots of livelihood to Francophone. Without him, right now, Canada should be almost pure Anglophone. That's why he really deserves this flower from Canadian, especially Quebecois.